welcome back to Nain Shorts, or welcome to if this is your first time joining us, or me, or I'm assuming people watch these, so I'm gonna stick with us. We're gonna go with us. But we're here at Physique Magnifique. This is our home. Come visit us, 387 Grand Avenue in South San Francisco. Anytime you're in the peninsula, we'll be happy to play, come out, and show you everything that we have to offer here at the gym. That being said, it's been a trying time for yours truly because I'm a little embarrassed to admit I had a bit of an ego check that I didn't know I needed. But apparently I did, because there was a lot of emotional battering that went on even after the fact, as I mulled over the whole process and everything that happened at that moment. And it's still a bit of a kind of flashbacks, little traumatizing to think back about it. So much so that my face didn't change for quite a while. If you didn't see this that I posted on Facebook, this beautiful face right there, now you have. And that's not me making a face, that is literally the face that I had after this check that I took that particular day. And it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun at all, because a lot of things went through my mind. Now, at that point, I was sure that my ego was in check, that I wasn't, I want to say arrogant, but after the fact, I want to say as arrogant, to show that I have learned quite a few things in that process. But I wasn't as arrogant as I thought I was, or I didn't think I was. And it took me for a loop. I was really lost, and I wanted to curse my instructor to his dying day, stomp on his grave, and then dance on top of it. Simply because it was such an ego check. Oh my God. So here's what happened. We were discussing that particular lesson for that day, and lately I believe that I've been making huge strides in my learning process and the things that I have, started to understand more so than anything. The physical stuff is the physical stuff. There's only so much you can do with that, but the understanding on when and where to use it and how to put it all together in conjunction with all the ideas and concepts that have been fed and provided and researched and studied over the 8 years. Now, I've had ego checks before, and I definitely needed them then. I'm not so sure I needed it now, or at least I didn't think I did. But it definitely made me wonder, what do you do after 8 years of training, after reaching a black belt, after getting that title? Where do you go? How do you grow when you reach a summit? Is there anywhere higher to go? And I'm not implying that I reached some sort of summit. I'm just, in a general way of stating, having reached a certain level, a certain height in your art, in your style, whatever that may be, where do you go from there? What happens next? And as far as I was concerned up until that point, it was just a matter of keep learning, keep picking the brain, keep figuring stuff out, keep studying, keep pushing to reach a different understanding, a deeper understanding of everything that you already have, so you can utilize it better. But to what extent and to what end? So in this particular day, we were having a lesson. We were discussing some of the theories and principles of the bladed mind that were instilled in us by Danny, and really exploring the extent of what those things mean. The parameters that are beset by the way that you are taught things, by the guiding principles, by the rules and regulations, all these things that should be present in everything that you do up until that point. Some of which I was missing. And it wasn't so much that I was missing them as much as I wasn't readily using them when I should. I was bringing everything forward physically, but mentally I wasn't. And emotionally, maybe that was the stopgap that I was supposed to break, or that in this case was broken for me. Because we talked about this move, this 3-piece combo that I love to use, and I still use from time to time, and I've gotten better at it. I've gotten more understanding of when and where to use it, so then it doesn't become a predictable thing. So what did my instructor do? He used the very same 3 moves in this amount of space, because we're close quarter fighters. Meanwhile, I was using it at a medium range, and he used it in a rather close range. And it was sudden, it was fast, it was brutal. He hit me hard enough where my head actually dropped, and it was just poised for that nice strike. I was stunned. Physically, sure, but who hasn't been hurt before? Who hasn't been in Uki and knows that, you get over it. You bruise, you move on. But the emotional bruising, that one's a little harder to get over. It was poignant and it was needed simply because, I have an ego. And I am arrogant enough to believe that I am good at what I do. And maybe it's not arrogance as much as it is just confidence. Because you do have to be confident in what you do in order to do it, to execute it, to walk into somebody's attack and say, I'm going to do something productive in that moment. But how far does that go? And how much does it affect you? Now, I've come to the realization that in order to progress beyond that, we really have to check ourselves. Or have somebody crazy enough to check you that you respect enough to actually listen to afterwards. Because the anger was there. The frustration definitely was there. And in those moments of clouded judgment, it is very difficult to see clearly the lessons that could be learned from that moment. It took a while, but eventually I started realizing that we have to break everything we know about ourselves, or more importantly, that we think we know about ourselves, in order to grow beyond where we are. And whether we do it intentionally or whether it's done to us intentionally, many of us, or at least I will admit that myself, have put too many restrictions on that growth because of that confidence. My humility has never been higher or lower. I'm not 100% sure how to gauge that, really. Is it a lot of humility? I'm the most humble person. That doesn't really sound very humble to say. Or I'm slightly humble, because there's so much more that we can learn to be humble about. I'm not sure where I am right now in that scope of things, but I definitely can say that I will not look at another practitioner the same. Whether they be a white belt, a black belt, a grand master, or some random person that I just met that day. There is definitely a lot more respect that I could have for them, and that I will have from now on. And it's not a matter of judgment. It's not, that person could kick my ass. Because even that idea of saying, that person's good, they could probably kick my ass, that is a form of judgment. Whether it's positive to the person or not, you're still comparing yourself to someone you may or may not know, someone whose skill level is great in that instance, but maybe not outside of that. Because I started questioning, I am good at what I do, but am I only good at what I do when I'm the head of the class? When I'm teaching a new student something they don't know, something they've never experienced? Am I good in front of a seminar setting because I practiced for that seminar, I thought about the things that I was going to say, and for the most part it came out well. Not that it came out the way that I wanted it to, but you adapt and you move on. What about in a real fight? Would I be just as good? Do I really want to find out? Do I really want to go through the emotional and physical pain similar to the one I just experienced? Except out in the street, it could be a lot more harmful, a lot more permanent. Because I was confident enough to believe that I could take that person. And then I was proven wrong. No matter how good we get in anything that we do, we always hear there is someone better. Someone stronger, someone faster, someone wiser, someone younger. But how much of that do we actually take as a reality? Are we still so confident that I would never be in that position to even find out? But the truth is, we don't know. We don't know what we don't know, and oftentimes it takes somebody who can see those things in us to point it out, and it's within us. It is our responsibility, or at least this is now what I see, is that it is my responsibility to accept that. As much as I don't like it, as much as it feels bad to admit. But I'm not as good as I think I am. And the reason I'm not as good as I think I am is because I either only see it in one context, which is the classroom, and not beyond it, or because I don't go outside of what I do. I stick to what I know. And as long as you do that, you'll be great. You'll be fine. And that's where you want to stay, by all means do so. But if you really want to test the boundaries of what you know or don't know, go outside of it. Swing for the fences if you have to, whatever the case may be. But until you get that information for yourself, until you see it for yourself, you're never really going to know. Sure, I am confident in the things that I do, and I know what I know. But no longer will I compare myself, or even in my head, as much as I would never say it, yeah, I could probably take that guy. Because those ideas don't help me in any way whatsoever. And sure, I may be a humble person. At least I like to think I am. Even that, there's still more to learn and deeper places to understand. So yeah, it wasn't an ego check that I thought I needed, but apparently I did. It's not fun, but it's necessary, because I feel like a white belt again. Not to put too much strain on the idea of levels, but simply because it is the easiest way to relay to the rest of you what I mean by that. I'm starting anew. I'm starting from scratch. All the lessons that I have with me, they're there, and they will help me. But it's almost a relief to admit that we know nothing, because it opens up the entire world of possibilities and lessons to come. It's not always comfortable, but at the end of it, it's worth it. So, if you can, break away from what you do. I mean, don't go gung-ho on it and end up hurt, but definitely try to push the boundaries of what you know, and even the things that you don't know. The fruits should be pretty positive. At least you'll learn where you are. And at least that's what it was for me. But we keep going, we keep training, and we keep pushing to the next level. So thank you very much for joining me on here another one of Nain Shorts. I hope to see you next time. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Share. Donation button on bottom. So please, if you can. Oh, one last thing. We are in the Konversation doing a few interviews in relations to the opening of the Bruce Lee Museum in San Francisco. We Are Bruce Lee, I believe it is called. And we are joining with them to bring interviews of people that knew him, people that were influenced by him, and the people around him. And we're going to have that set up in the display itself at the museum. And please look forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun. So far, we've talked to some amazing people who knew the man, and it's a wonderful opportunity. Actually, it's actually really cool. As a fan, this is just something that even if it doesn't go anywhere, I love being a part of. But he was such an influential person to the martial arts that we know it's a big deal. So it's definitely something to look forward to. Keep an eye out for it, and yeah, when it opens, you might want to go visit the place. April 24th is when it opens to the public, so make sure you're there. And if not, it's going to be there for the next 5 years, I believe. So whenever you get a chance to make it to the city, please go visit. All right, so thank you once again. Till the next one. 3, 2, 1, cut.